Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to our third day of the Tantric Path in practice. Today we get to start playing with the moon a little bit. Moon practices are sort of officially the first step on the path of the Tantric approach to yoga, although the way that we practice with the preparatory stages can also be considered quite tantric, as we are working with moving our energy around and whatnot. But our intention becomes a little bit more specific when we get into the moon phase. There are two sort of stages or orientations of the moon, one of which we will play with today, the other which we will play with next Wednesday. And those two are calming the mind and steadying the mind. So both orientations of moon are geared toward our relationship with our mind. For calming the mind, we're really starting to work with the nervous system, utilizing the postures and the breathing techniques that help to regulate the nervous system and shift it more intentionally, voluntarily into parasympathetic nervous system response. So in terms of technique, you're going to feel into quite a few forward folds, some gentle twists. We will, in general, be moving more slowly. We will be holding postures for a longer period of time, with the hope that we'll be able to drop into something that we can refer to as witness consciousness, which is when you start to observe yourself having the experience of a practice rather than being completely identified with the body or being completely identified with the mind. Instead, we get to actually watch ourselves having the experience, watch the thoughts that arise in the mind, watch and observe the sensations that arise in the body without judgment, ideally, just with curiosity and compassion. All righty, with that, hopefully this nervous system balancing practice will also soothe the animals in the room. They were so calm and quiet until I rolled my mat out, and then they became maniacs again. So we'll see what happens. Go ahead and come onto your mat. And once again, we will start on our hands and knees. So again, about 30 seconds or so to just feel into the body. Notice where the sensations are presenting themselves. And then begin to make your way onto your belly for Maharasana, crocodile pose. The legs will stretch out nice and long behind you. Bring the elbows and forearms in front. Stretch the belly a little bit so that you can create more conscious awareness of the diaphragm. Toes can be pointing in or out, whatever is more comfortable for you. And cross the forearms. Relax the shoulders and rest the forehead on the backs of the arms and backs. Continue to wiggle, fidget, adjust until you can feel the weight of the belly nice and soft and squishy on the floor. The bottom ribs are also making contact with a little bit of weight on them. And then there's a little bit of lightness or lift to the upper ribs. What we're hoping to do here is become more consciously aware of the movement of the diaphragm as the body breathes increasingly effortlessly. You'll very likely notice a subtle movement from the bottom ribs down in the direction of the belly button to the pelvis as the body inhales. And the same subtle movement in reverse back up toward the bottom ribs as the body exhales. Be here for another minute or two to really let yourself settle in. And without introducing any additional effort, you start to pay attention to the rhythm of the breath. So the inhales and exhales, balance, smooth, and steady. About one more minute. And as you're breathing, create the resolve to maintain this connection to the breath throughout the practice. One more breath here, and then when it feels right to you, begin to gently move back into the hands and the knees. And then as the body exhales, shift the hips back slowly to child's pose. Then we'll move in and out of child's pose a few times. So take your time. As the body inhales, you'll find yourself on your hands and knees. And as the body exhales, draw the hips back. Keep the thighs parallel to one another. Bend the elbows somewhat so the forearms and the forehead lightly make contact with the floor. Inhaling up to the hands and the knees. And a slow, smooth exhale draws the pelvis back, softening the elbows, tucking the chin. Keep going with this, and if it feels comfortable for you, gradually begin to extend the length of the exhale, the time that it takes to shift down and back into this very relaxed child. Next time you find yourself in that child's pose, linger for a while. If you'd like, you can gently shift the hips from side to side. Voluntary movements to make the posture more comfortable is acceptable, but see if you can notice any involuntary wiggles, fidgets, movements, and try to minimize those. Stay with the breath, smooth, steady inhale and exhale. One more breath here. On the next inhale, make your way back up to the hands and the knees. And on the next exhale, just start to roll the pelvis. Loosening up through the hips and the places where the pelvis connects to both the torso as well as the thigh. Sure. One more rotation and then come right back through to the center. Give yourself another moment just to check in. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Lengthen through the neck and the spine, and then very gently rotate the head around the big, easy circle. Switch direction. And then come once again back through to the center. From here, we'll start to move through downward facing dog. Nice and easy. Take an inhale and press into the hands. On an exhale, slowly float the hips up and back. Feel the spine lengthen as you come into your down dog. Knees can be bent. Inhale, let the knees softly lower. Exhale, back to your downward facing. Three more times. Moving 5 to 10% more slowly than you might be naturally inclined. One more time. And then we're going to stay in downward facing dog for a few breaths. Find some steadiness here. The breath continues to flow smoothly. Balance between inhale and exhale. One more breath. On the next inhale, let's lift the heels, soften the knees and gaze toward the hands. And on the exhale, step lightly to the top. Knees can be bent fairly generously if you'd like, so that your rib cage can make contact with the tops of the thighs. Keep your gaze on your toes, and on the next inhale, just lift about halfway. And on the exhale, soften back into that fold. Inhale, lift halfway, keeping the gaze toward the toes. Exhale, soften into the fold. Again, inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, soften the fold. And last time, inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, softly fold. And we're going to stay here again for a few breaths. So if you'd like, with the knees bent, maybe take a hold of the elbows. Relax through the neck and the shoulders as much as possible. Allow the spine to decompress. Continue to breathe into the belly and invite the mind to grow quite calm, quiet, moving in the direction of stillness. And from here, you can release the arms that you were holding on to. Bend the knees a bit more generously, root down through the soles of the feet. And on an inhale, rise slowly, maybe even rolling up, stacking the spine as you breathe. On an exhale, let the shoulder blades melt down the back, reaching down through the ribs and allowing the crown of the head to gradually and effortlessly float upward toward the sky. Feel the weight in the legs and the feet. And breathe into that calm steadiness. The palms can face behind you. On an inhale, we'll bend the knees to chair pose. Keep your gaze down on the ground, maybe 6 feet out in front of you. On an exhale, sweep the arms behind the back and fold gently over bent legs. Inhale, lean back and rise all the way to standing, arms alongside the ears. Exhale, bend the knees, sweep the arms back, fold gently over bent legs. Inhale again, rise all the way to standing, arms alongside the ears. 2 more times. Exhale, folding. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, folding. And inhale, rise. We'll fold once more. Exhale, bending the knees, bringing the ribs in contact with the thighs, letting the arms gently sweep behind the back. Release the weight of the head. Breathe here a moment. Then release the hands down to the floor. Lightly step the left leg back, and then release the knee and the shin to the mat, coming into a very gentle, low lunge. Give yourself a moment just to soften into this lunge. Maybe lifting and lowering the pelvis a few times or hinging forward and back. But continuing to keep the gaze oriented toward the earth. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Let the pelvis get even heavier if possible. We'll begin to move into a gentle twist. So the left hand will stay on the floor. Right hand can come onto the right ear thigh. Inhale to find a little bit more space in the spine. And on an exhale, gently rotate to the right. Notice if you're over efforting in any way and see if you can really consciously dial that effort back. Let the pelvis continue to soften and sink. Relax through the neck and the shoulders. And in this twist, you'll have a little bit more compression in the space of the belly. To see if you can breathe into that compression. You continue to feel the diaphragm engaging with inhale and exhale. Now the next inhale, release that twist. And on the exhale, let's start to shift the hips back for Ardha Hanumanasana. So the hips will be stacked over the left. You can lift your right toes. I like to press down through the heel and then try to draw the right hip back a little bit. Then we'll look for a little extra length through the spine. So the sits bones might roll back slightly. And then you may be able to fold a little more deeply over the front back. Stay with the breath. Next inhale, we'll come out of that back into a lunge. You can tuck the back toes. And on an exhale, just slide the right foot back and lower both knees to the mat. Inhale, find a little expression of cow pose, lifting crown and tail. Exhale, hinge forward and come all the way onto the belly. Press the tops of the feet down, bring the hands behind the back, and inhale, lift into a low cobra. Exhale, release, bring your right cheek down. Once again, inhale, slowly lift to a low cobra. And on exhale, release, left cheek. Bringing the head back through to the center, hands under the shoulders. On an inhale, lift the hands and knees. Exhale to child's pose. Stay for one extra breath in your child's pose. Inhale, return to the hands and the knees, tuck the toes. Exhale to downward facing dog. An extra breath in your down dog. Inhale, lift the heels, soften the knees, gaze toward the mat. Exhale, step lightly back up to the top of the mat. Inhale to lift half. Exhale, fold. Bending the knees, inhale, rise through chair pose all the way to standing. Exhale, release the arms down by your side. Enjoy your breath. And once more, inhale, coming into chair pose. Exhale, fold, let the arms sweep back for a moment. Then keep the arms swept and inhale, just lift for a moment, keeping the knees bent. On exhale, release. Slide the hands down the backs of the legs. Step the right foot back. And then take your time, softening into a low lunge. Notice if you have any expectations for yourself in terms of how this ought to look or feel. Notice the expectation, and then do your best to release any power that they might have with you. And instead, start to deal with reality. What's really happening in your body? What does it need from you? How can you engage with each individual posture, each individual breath in a way that is soothing, calming, healing? Enjoy a few more breaths here, just being curious and exploring the sensations that are present. And then we'll prepare for a twist. Right hand will stay on the ground or on a block. Left hand will come to the knee or thigh. Enjoy one more inhale here to find additional length and space in the spine. And on your exhale, gently rotate to the left. So again, check in with the expectations. Are you pushing any further than is actually of benefit to you? Is there a way to dial that back, soften, and enjoy the experience? Breathe into the contraction, the constriction in the belly. On an inhale, start to move out of the twist. And on an exhale, shift the hips back, stacking the pelvis over the right knee, lifting the left toes, pressing into the left heel and drawing your left side of your pelvis back a bit. With each inhale, see if it's possible to cultivate a little more extension in the spine. And with each exhale, maybe soften a bit more into that fold. Breath is smooth and steady and balanced at this point between inhale and exhale. Just a few more breaths here. Is it possible to release a little more resistance, whether that's physical or psychological? On the next inhale, we'll simply rebend that front knee. On the exhale, slide the front foot back, coming on with the hands and knees. Take an inhale to find your cow tilting pose, lifting front. On the exhale, hinge forward, come all the way onto the belly. Press the tops of the feet down, hands behind the back. Inhale, lift halfway, coming into a small expression of cobra. Exhale, release, right cheek to the mat. Again, inhale, lift, coming into cobra, looking forward. And exhale, release, left cheek. Good, bring the head back to center, hands under the shoulders. Inhale, lift up to the hands and knees. Exhale to child's. Stay in child's pose for a moment. And then nice and easy on an inhale, walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. Exhale and softly stretch into the right side body. Dial back the effort, the exertion involved. Inhale to walk the hands through to the center again. On the exhale, stay and just soften and neutralize. And then on the next inhale, lightly walk the hands to the right side of the mat. And exhale, fold. Let the head become heavy, maybe even resting down on the floor. Breathe into the left side of the body. On the next inhale, let's walk the hands back through to the center. Exhale, soften down the middle. And then linger here for another breath or two. In child's pose in a moon practice, tuck the chin slightly so it's the hairline that is connecting with the floor rather than the chin or even the eyebrow center. And then on an inhale, we'll come back to the hands and the knees, tuck the toes. And again on the exhale, find your downward facing dog. This time in down dog, if you want to pedal the feet and loosen up through the hips and side body a little bit more, you are welcome to. Then walk the feet to the outer edges of the mat. Keep the feet more or less parallel to one another. Walk the hands back a little bit and try to have the heels on the ground, even if that means deeply bending the knees. Keep floating the pelvis up and back, off of the waist. So the weight is a little bit more in the feet than it is in the hands. And then again, shift the hips gently from side to side. Keep the back of the neck long. And then bring the pelvis back into the center. Bring your left hand, well, let's start with the right hand. Right hand a little bit more towards the midline of the mat. Take an inhale to just stretch the left arm out to the left thigh front. And on an exhale, loop that arm through underneath the right and see if you can take hold of the right leg, either the thigh, the calf, the ankle, or the heel. Keep pressing into both feet, floating the pelvis up and back. And then use the arms to gently rotate the rib cage to the right for a twist. Keep the back of the neck long and on the next inhale, release the left hand. On the exhale, just relax in a relatively neutral position. And then we'll switch and take that to the other side. So now the left hand will come toward the midline of the mat. Still floating the hips up and back. Inhale, stretch the right arm out to the right. Exhale, sweep the arm through, take a hold of the thigh, the calf, the ankle, or the heel. Keep floating the hips up and back, and then use the arms as levers to help you find a rotation here. Smooth, steady breath, minimal effort. On the next inhale, release the hand. Exhale, once again, set the hands in a more neutral alignment. Float the hips up and back. Inhale, lower the knees. Exhale, bring the shins together and just sit back on the heels. Drop the shoulders, palms can be facing up, back to the hands resting on the side. Either soften or close the eyes and just breathe. From here, very lightly bring your fingertips onto your shoulders. Inhale to lift the elbows. Exhale to roll them back and down toward one another. Inhale, forward together and up. Exhale, back and down. 2 more times. And then switch directions. Once more. Good. Relax the shoulders, release the arms. Give yourself another moment. Come back onto the hands and the knees for a moment. We're going to come into a variation of Gomukha. So bring your left knee a little closer to the midline of the mat, maybe even a little further off to the right. Bring your right leg up and back behind, cross at the thigh, so the knees are coming together, and then swing the shins, the toes, out to either side. From here, pay attention to the sensations in your knees and in your hips, and if at any point this is too much, pause, And I'll show you another way to get into it. Otherwise, if all is well, just take a peek in between your feet. Okay, so if that was not going to work in your body for any reason, what you can do instead is sit first and then crisscross the legs, bringing the knees more or less to a stacked position. Feet more or less out to the side, almost like little bicycle handlebars. If you can touch the feet, just bring the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet together. Keep the spine upright for now and reconnect to the breath. Now, if it feels like a good idea, you can begin to hinge forward. Let go of any agenda or objective other than softly releasing into the gentle pull of gravity. Check in and notice if you're still able to breathe diaphragmatically. And if not, then adjust the posture so it's maybe a little less intense and prioritize it. On the next inhale, start to sit upright again. Bring the hands back behind you. On an exhale, just lean back so that you take some of the pressure off of the legs. Unravel and bring the feet about mat distance apart within the fence, and then gently windshield wiper. For most of us, that posture brings a lot of sensation to the surface, and this is one of the most effective ways I have found for distributing that sensation in a slightly more pleasant way. From here, if you found it was easier to get into this position from a seated position, then go ahead and do that now, and you will have your left knee on top this time. If you enjoyed coming into it from hands and knees, make your way there. Bring the right knee a little further toward the left side of the mat. Cross the left thigh up and over behind the right. Swing the shins and toes out to either side. And then pay attention because we're all a little asymmetrical. It might have been easy the first time around, but this might be a little bit trickier. So be gentle with yourself. Gentle and mindful. And again, if it's available, soles of the feet and the palms of the hands are going to come into contact. Lengthen through the neck and the spine. Soften into the space of the belly and just be with the breath. Then, if it feels like a good idea, you can begin to fold forward, letting go of any objective, any picture in your head of what this is supposed to look like, maybe how it's looked before, or what you're striving for. Let that go and just be with that gentle pull of gravity. Next inhale, we'll sit upright. Exhale, bring the hands behind you, lean back, untangle the legs. Once again, feet about mat width apart, knees bent, windshield wiper. Bring the legs out in front of you, about hip distance apart or so. Sit fairly close to the tops of the thighs. See if you can bring your right hand onto your left shin, left hand onto your right shin. Roll the shoulders back a bit, lengthen through the spine, and then start to fold forward, rounding the spine, stretching into the back body, maybe even tucking the chin. Just enjoy a few breaths here. On the next inhale, bring yourself up. And on the exhale, release the hands, slide the feet a little further forward, and then let the knees open to the thighs. Inhale, find a bit more space. And exhale, gently hinge forward. Support yourself however you can with your hands or your arms. Try to keep the back of the neck fairly long. And just be here with ease. If you'd like at this point, you can once again come to this effortless extension of exhale. So if your breath is generally 4 counts in and 4 counts out again, maybe start to play with 4 counts in, 6 counts out, or even 4 in, 8 out, without creating any struggle in the body or mind. Inhale, slowly sit back up again. Exhale, just soften the shoulders, lengthen the spine. Take a moment to notice. Stretch the legs out in front of you, just give them a little bit of a shake, and then we'll prepare to lie down. Bend the knees, scooching toward the top of the mat. Take an inhale to find a little bit more lift. And on the exhale, roll yourself down. Preparing for a gentle final twist. Draw the thighs in toward the belly. Bring the arms out to the side. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, lower both knees to the left. Try scooting your left shoulder blade an inch further to the left. Maybe place your left palm on the belly, right palm on your lower back. Breathe into the space between the hands 3 or 4 times. Bring the chin and gaze back up if you have the head tilted. Inhale to bring both knees up through the center. Take an exhale just to pause. One more inhale to prepare. And on the exhale, lower the knees to the right. Again, feel free to shift the right shoulder. Place the palm of the right hand on the belly, palm of the left hand on the lower back. Breathe into the space between. 3 or 4 times. Preparing to come out of the twist. Looking up if you were looking off to one side. Inhale to bring the knees up. On the exhale, just set the feet down so you can rearrange the pelvis in a nice neutral alignment. Draw the thighs back in, hands on the knees. Just gently rock the legs away from the belly and back and toward the belly. And then curl into a little ball. Chin to chest, forehead to kneecaps. One more inhale here. And exhale, release to Shavasana. Surrender the weight of the body to the earth. And drop awareness into the space of the belly. Watch as the belly continues to move subtly and effortlessly. Gently and intelligently guiding the breath in and guiding it back out again. So this will be the conclusion of your practice today. Please stay in Shavasana for about 10 more minutes. if you will be transitioning right away to realize. You have another few minutes before that next link will open. Take your time. We'll meet you there for some candle gazing. You're welcome to stay in Shavasana for that. And then join us in time for the Take your time. Thank you and see you soon.